Hi students, how are you? Welcome back to my channel Atom Bio 360. Today I going to discuss another topic in sexual reproduction in flowering plants, that is gynoecium. Already I discussed about androecium and given important points related to the androecium. So today I going to discuss female reproductive structure of the flower, that is gynoecium. So gynoecium, it is the female reproductive structure in the flower. Okay, so it is suppose in some cases the female reproductive structure that is called pistil. So sometimes single pistil may be present in the flower. Otherwise, in sometimes multiple pistils are also present. Multiple pistil, otherwise single pistil. So based on this, it is classified into two types. That is single pistil, that is called monopistil plants, or multiple pistils. So again the multiple pistils is present in the plant. So it is classified into different types. Okay, so that is the multiple pistils is present. The multiple pistils may be fused, otherwise the multiple pistils may be present in the free condition. The multiple pistils present in the free condition, otherwise the multiple pistils fused to each other. Okay, so see here, so the multiple pistils free, not attached to each other. The multiple pistils not attached to each other. So this is called apocarpus. Free means not attached to each other. This is called apocarpus. Suppose in some cases the multiple pistils fused together. That condition, the multiple pistils fused together. This condition is called syncarpus. Apocarpus and syncarpus. Okay, so apocarpus. What is the example of the apocarpus? Apocarpus example, Michiliae. Michiliae, it is the example of the apocarpus, and syncarpus means the carpels fused together. That is called syncarpals. Example, papaver. Okay, so this is the examples. So based on the pistils or carpels that is fused, carpels are free carpels. So free carpels, that is called apocarpels, means the carpels not fused to each other, free from each other, that is called apocarpus. Example, Michiliae. Otherwise the carpels fused together, that is called syncarpus. Example, papaver. So this is the types of the gynoecium. So now we will discuss about structure of the gynoecium. Structure of the gynoecium. Okay, so if you see this pistil structure, it contains three parts. The pistil contains three parts. So if you see female reproductive structure, it contains landing platform. Okay, so the landing platform is this upside, this flat structure is present in the carpel. This is the flat structure. Okay, so beneath this style is present. So this is called stigma. Okay, so next part, this is called style. Okay, after stigma and style, the next part, this is called ovary. Okay, so stigma, style and ovary. So stigma, it is a landing platform for the pollen grains and it is a flat structure. Okay, so after the stigma is connected to the style. So generally the students mistake in this style. So the style is elongated structure. See the style. So style is the point number 1, elongated structure. And the second point in the style, that is slender structure. Okay, and third point in the style contains a solid tissue. Solid tissue is present in the style. Solid tissue present in the style. Okay, so generally so many students mistake in this, that is the style may be tube. This is not tube, it is a solid structure. So because of that pollen tube is required. So suppose it is a tube means pollen tube is not required. So it is a solid tissue. Okay, so then ovary. So first stigma, it is a flat structure. It is a landing platform for the pollen grains. After that style, then ovary. So the ovary contains ovarian cavity. So first some already you studied morphology of the flowering plants. In that you studied different kinds of the ovaries and placenta arrangement. So once recollect that knowledge. So see here, this is the ovary. So the ovary contains chambers. Some ovaries, not all the ovaries, some ovaries contains chambers. That chambers is called locules. Okay, locules is present in some ovaries. So the second point is the ovaries contains ovarian cavity. Ovarian cavity. Okay, so the ovarian cavity contains placenta. Placenta is present inside the ovarian cavity. Placenta present inside the ovarian cavity. Okay, so the placenta is attached to the ovules. Placenta attached to ovules. Ovules attached to the ovary with the help of the placenta. So the ovary contains so many chambers. Some ovaries contains chambers. That chambers is called locules. Ovary contains ovarian cavity. And the ovarian cavity contains cushion-like structure, like sofa or cushion-like structure, that is called placenta. So on that placenta, how you are sitting in your benches in your school, like that here also the ovules is attached to the placenta. Okay, the ovules can get nutrition from the placenta. So this is the structure of ovary. So the number of ovules is equal to the number of seeds in a ovary. Suppose if you see some seeds, some plants like mango, how many seeds is present in mango? Single seed is present in the mango. Okay, otherwise if you take coconut, how many seeds is present in the coconut? One seed is present in the coconut. Means so single ovule is present in the ovary, then it will develop a single seed in that fruit. So single seeded fruits are examples of the single ovule ovaries. Single ovule ovaries contains a single fruit. But in some cases, like this is the single ovule ovary. Single ovule ovary. In some cases, multiple ovules is present. Multiple ovules. Okay, so some cases multiple ovules is present in the ovary. So when the multiple ovules is present, the multiple ovules is developed into the multiple seeds. Multiple ovules will develop into multiple seeds. Okay, so single ovule is present means it will develop into a single seeded fruits like mango, otherwise coconut. This is the examples of the single seeded fruits. Suppose multiple ovules is present, it leads to the formation of multiple seeded fruits. Example, orchid. Otherwise another example for this, like watermelon. So like that, so many seeds, so many fruits you can observe most of these seeds having a more than one seed, that is multi-seeded fruits in our environment. Okay, so oranges, lemon, this all kind of fruits contains more than one seed. More than one seed is present in the fruit means the fruit is developed from the ovary. Ovary contains more than one ovules. So number of ovules in the ovary is equal to the number of seeds in the fruit. Okay, so this is the structure of pistil. Okay, next we will discuss about another important structure. So that is ovule structure. Structure of the angiosperm ovule. Structure of angiosperm ovule. Ovule structure. Okay, so this is a sequence. First we discussed female reproductive structure, that pistil structure. Then in that we discussed each part in the pistil. Then we going to discuss the ovule structure. Okay, so ovule. So first I will draw the structure of the ovule. So this is embryo sac. Okay, above the embryo sac, integuments is present. This is the outer integument. Okay, so after that another this is the inner integument, and above the inner integument, outer integument is present. Okay, so then in this place, okay, so see, this is the ovule structure. So now I will give the labels. So this area is called funicule. F-U-N-I-C-L-E, funicule. Okay, so after funicule, this area is called hilum. Okay, so this region is called outer integument. Outer integument. Okay, then another area is there. This area is called inner integument. Okay, see here, this area is called raphe, R-A-P-H-A-E. Okay, so then one vascular tissue is present inside the funicule. That vascular tissue, that red line is there, this red line. Vascular tissue is present inside this area. Okay, that vascular tissue, that is called, okay, so this is the vascular tissue. Okay, so that is the vascular tissue. Then this inside this blue color structure is there. That blue color structure is called embryo sac. Okay, between the this blue color line and the black color line. Okay, so between this is inner integument, black color line, and blue color line is the embryo sac wall. So between this area, this region is called nucellus. Okay, then base of the ovule, this is called chalazal end. Chalazal end. Okay, and apical region, if you observe carefully, you can see in this area, in the apical region, this area, this empty space is there. This space is called micropylar region. Micropylar region. Okay, so this is the parts of the ovule. So angiospermic ovule. So one by one I will discuss here. What is funicule? Okay, funicule means it is a stack of the ovule. Stack of the ovule, and it is responsible for the attachment of ovule to the ovary, means placenta. It is responsible for attachment of ovule to placenta. So that is the function of the funicule. Okay, so stack of the funicule is a stack of the ovule. It is responsible for the attachment of ovule to the placenta. So that is the significance of funicule. Okay, so this is the funicule. So after that, the funicule extends up to some distance in the ovule. So up to which distance the funicule is extended on the ovule, that region, this area is there. This region is called raphe. R-A-P-H-A-E. Up to some distance, the funicule extend on the ovule, that is called raphe. Up to some distance, funicule extends on ovule. Okay, that particular area is called raphe. Okay, then hilum. What is hilum? Hilum means it is a junction between the funicule and the ovule. Funicule and body of the ovule both are attached to each other with the help of the hilum. Funicule and body of ovule attached with each other with the help of the hilum. Funicule and body of ovule attached with each other with the help of the hilum. Okay, so this is the hilum. See here, this is the funicule. Okay, and this is the body of the ovule. Both are attached to each other with the help of the hilum. Okay, so then inside the funicule you can see the vascular tissue. Okay, now we will discuss about vascular tissue. This red line is present, so this is vascular tissue. The vascular tissue is present inside the funicule. Okay, so what is the function of the vascular tissue, that we will discuss about now. So first I discussed about funicule, raphe, then hilum. So I will give notes about this vascular tissue. So what is the function of vascular tissue and where the vascular tissue is located? So the vascular tissue is located inside the funicule. That red line is there. That red line is called vascular tissue. Vascular tissue. Okay, now we will discuss about vascular tissue. So what is the function of this vascular tissue? It is present inside the vascular tissue inside the funicule. First point. Okay, and the second point, what is the function? What is the location of vascular tissue? Vascular tissue is present inside the funicule. That is the first point. So what is the function of vascular tissue? So the vascular tissue, it will provide nutrition to body of ovule from placenta. So this is the function. Okay, so vascular tissue, it is present inside the funicule, vascular tissue. It will provide nutrition to the body of ovule from the placenta, because the ovule is attached to the ovary with the help of the placenta. Okay, so the ovule, it will receive nutrition with the help of the placenta. So that placenta, so with the help, so first the nutrients is transferred into the placenta from the ovary. Okay, after that the nutrients is transferred into the vascular tissue. So the vascular tissue receives the nutrients, and vascular tissue, it will transfer that nutrients to the body of the ovule. So that is the function of the vascular tissue. Okay, then I will explain about integuments. So different kinds of integuments is present. Okay, so different varieties of integument. So outer integument is present and inner integument is also present. So what is the function of integuments? You can see outer integument and inner integument. What is the function of the integuments? Integuments, it will provide protection to the ovule. Provide protection. So that may be outer integument or inner integument. The functions of the integuments is the integuments will provide protection to the ovule. So that may be outer integument or inner integument. Okay, then if you see micropylar region is there. So what is the micropylar region? In the ovule, micropylar region is there. The micropylar region means micropylar region. Okay, so the micropylar region where the integument is absent, where the integument is absent, where the integument is absent in the ovule, that particular location is called micropylar region. Where the integument is absent in the ovule, that particular location is called micropylar region. So this area is called micropylar region. So in the micropylar region, integument is completely absent. Okay, so then base is there. So this base, that base is called chalazal region. So chalazal end or chalazal region. So the chalazal end, it is the base of the ovule. So what is the base and what is the apex of the ovule? So the base of the ovule is the chalazal end and apex of the ovule is the micropylar end. Okay, so chalazal end is the base of the ovule. Base of the ovule. Okay, so the ovule. So ovule is called, what is ovule? Ovule is megasporangium. Okay, so inside the megasporangium, megaspores is present. What is that megaspore? Embryo sac. Okay, so embryo sac is enclosed inside the ovule. So because of that, the ovule is called megasporangium. I will highlight that point here. Ovule is also called megasporangium. Ovule is also called megasporangium. Okay, so another name of the ovule is megasporangium. Okay, so this is the different parts. Now I going to discuss one important area in the ovule, that is nucellus. Okay, ovule is also called megasporangium. So nucellus, what is nucellus? Okay, nucellus means it is a sporogenous tissue. It is present inside the inner integument. Okay, so nucellus is a sporogenous tissue. It is present inside the inner integument and it will form a body of the ovule. Nucellus. Nucellus is present inside the body, inside the inner integument, nucellus is present inside the inner integument. Okay, so nucellus is present inside the inner integument, and again the nucellus is present inside the inner integument, and it will create a body of the ovule, and it constructing body of ovule. So the body of ovule is created because of the nucellus. So nucellus is present inside the inner integument and it constructing a body of the ovule. So the body of the ovule is created because of the nucellus. So this area is there between the blue line and the black line. So this area is called nucellus. Okay, so nucellus is classified into different types. So different types of the plants having a different integuments. Different types of the plants having a different nucellus. Okay, so nucellus is classified into two types. That is teninucellate and nucellus. It is classified into two types. Teninucellate and crassinucellate. Okay, so two types of nucellate is present, teninucellate and crassinucellate. So crassinucellate, it is mostly single layer. Single layer is present in the teninucellate. Okay, so and crassinucellate, it contains the multiple layers. Multiple layers present in the crassinucellate. Okay, so again teninucellate, it is poorly developed. Okay, and another one is crassinucellate. So crassinucellate is well developed. Well developed nucellus is called crassinucellate. So crassinucellate is the well developed nucellus and teninucellate is the poorly developed nucellus. Okay, again the teninucellus, examples of the teninucellus. So generally the teninucellus is present in the gamopetalae. Okay, example of the teninucellate. What is the example of the teninucellate? Teninucellate is present in the gamopetalae. And again crassinucellate is there. So crassinucellate is present in which plants? The crassinucellate, it is present in the polypetalae. Otherwise we can say monocots. Okay, so these plants contains the crassinucellate. Okay, so which one is advanced and which one is well developed? Crassinucellate is well developed and teninucellate is poorly developed. So example of the teninucellate is the gamopetalae and example of the crassinucellate is the polypetalae, that is monocots. So this is the types of the nucellus. Again this integuments. So based on the number of the integuments, the ovules is classified into three different types. Sometimes integument, only one integument is present in some ovules. That is, in some plants the ovule contains single integument. But in some plants the ovule contains two integuments, or in some cases the integuments is completely absent. So based on the presence or absence or number of the integuments, it is classified into three different types. Okay, so see here, the ovules is classified into three different types based on the integuments. Okay, so first one is unitegmic. Okay, and the second one is bitegmic. and third one is ategmic. Okay, so unitegmic means single integument is present, that is called unitegmic. In some cases only one integument is present, that is called unitegmic. Single integument. In some plants two integuments is present, that is called bitegmic. Two integuments present, that is called bitegmic. Okay, two integuments. And ategmic means completely the integuments is absent. Integuments completely absent. So in which plants integuments is completely absent, that is called ategmic. So what is the examples of unitegmic? So unitegmic generally it is present in the less developed plants like gymnosperms. Gymnosperms contains unitegmic. Otherwise you can say this is Gamopetalae. So Gamopetalae plants generally poorly developed plants. Okay, so examples for the single integument plants, that is unitegmic plants, that is gymnosperms and Gamopetalae. Okay, and another one is this is two integuments, that is called bitegmic. So bitegmic plants, what is the examples of the bitegmic plants? Two integuments is present, so that is Polypetalae. Example, so example 1 Polypetalae. Otherwise you can say that is monocots also. Okay, so some plants not having any integument, so some ovules not having any integument. So that is in which plants integument is completely absent. So that is in some plants integuments is completely absent. So in which plants integuments is completely absent? Example, Xanthalum and another one is Loranthus. Xanthalum and Loranthus. Okay, so these plants not having any integument. So based on the number of integuments, the ovules is classified into three different types. Okay, this is classification based on the presence or absence of the integuments. And integuments is completely degenerated in some plants. So example, Compositae family. So Compositae family plants not having a integuments. So integuments is completely absent in the Compositae family plants. Okay, so in that plants the integuments is absent, so Nucellus only will develop a integument like structure. Okay, so integument degenerated in some plants. Example, Compositae family plants. Compositae family plants not having a integument, it is degenerated. So again, if integument is degenerated, integument like structure developed from Nucellus. Okay, integument like structure is developed from the Nucellus. Okay, so this is the explanation about the ovule structure, angiosperm ovule structure. So again, special kind of ovules is also there. Okay, so this is the general structure. Some special type of the ovules is also there. I will discuss about that special type of the ovules. Okay, so that is arrayl. Some plants contains third integument. So how many integuments you studied here? Two integuments, that is inner integument and outer integument. but some plants contains extra integument. So more than one integument is present in some ovules. Some ovules contains more than one integument. That is called arrayal. Okay, third integument present in some ovules. Third integument is present in some ovules. That is called third integument developed in some ovules in some plants. That is called arrayal. Okay, so that kind of integument is present in which plants? Example, lychee. Okay, so lychee plant, lychee ovule contains the arrayal. Third integument is developed in this ovule. And another one is Myristica. So Myristica also contains third integument. So third integument is present in the lychee or Myristica. So the third integument, what is the third? This is the special kind of the ovule. So the special kind of the ovule contains a third integument. The third integument is called arrayal. So that arrayal or third integument is present in the lychee and Myristica. So lychee and Myristica contains the third integument. Okay, so and another kind of the integument, this is very interesting integument, that is called carancule. So carancule, it is also very special kind of integument and very interesting also. So that is carancule. Okay, so carancule is the another special kind of the integument. So what is carancule? So carancule, it is a proliferation of the outer integument. Proliferation of outer integument. Proliferation of outer integument develops. Proliferation of the outer integument. So it will develop a structure. That structure is called caruncule. So the caruncule is developed at the micropylar region. It is developed in the micropylar region. Generally, it stores the sugars. So sugars present in the caruncule. Stores the sugars. So sugars is present in this. So the sugars is present in the caruncule. It helps the absorption of water. It helps the absorption of water during germination of seeds. Okay, and another important and very interesting point here. So the seeds contain sugars. When the seeds contains the sugars, the ants is attracted towards this kind of the seeds. If the ovule is developed into the seed, during that time outer layer contains the sugars. When the sugars is accumulated in the outer integument, so the ants is attracted towards the seeds. So the ants responsible for the dispersion of that seeds into the different areas. That is called mermerography. Okay, so see here, the ants distribute seeds to other places. That is called mermerography. Okay, so this is the points related to the caruncule. So caruncule is also special type of the integument. Okay, so this is the information about the integument. Now I will give ploidy of the different areas. So see here, vascular tissue. So vascular tissue, what is the ploidy of the vascular tissue? Vascular tissue is present in diploidian condition. So nucellus. So nucellus is a part of the ovule. What is the ploidy of the nucellus? So nucellus is present in diploid condition. Okay, then see here, integuments is present. So what is the ploidy of the integuments? Integuments is also present in the diploid condition. So funicule is present in diploid condition. Again, hilum is also present in the diploid condition. Okay, so but embryo sac is present inside. So inside this blue color area is there. So this blue color area is called embryo sac. This blue color vowel structure is present. That blue color vowel structure is embryo sac. So embryo sac is present inside the ovule. Embryo sac present inside the ovule. So the embryo sac, what is the ploidy of the embryo sac? So the embryo sac ploidy is haploid. So embryo sac is present in the haploid in condition. So this is about ovule or megasporangium structure. So students, this is the information given. So if you study this information, this is sufficient for any range of the exam. So I will give guarantee no question out of this class. Suppose in NEET examination may be tough or easy. Suppose if the NEET examination is very tough also, toughest questions if they ask in NEET examination also, no question out of this notes. So if you see this, if you study this content, you can answer any kinds of questions, okay, from this area, that is ovule megasporangium. Okay, so students, I given some extra information. I covered NCERT points and I provided some extra information also. Should focus on NCERT first. So if you can get good command on the NCERT, then go for this extra points like aryl, carbuncle, vascular tissue. Okay, so first try to get command on the NCERT. Okay, then go for other areas. Okay, suppose in some cases chances is there, we cannot say like that NEET paper is very easy. In some cases may chance to ask tough questions also, but every year we will not expect same kind of the paper. Okay, that paper is tougher or easy. Don't think about the toughness of the paper. So first to study NCERT, focus on NCERT, practice all the previous questions. Suppose if I given this megasporangium, so this is previous question only. Okay, otherwise embryo sac, ploidy of the embryo sac, that is also previous question. So ploidy of the nucellus, this is previous questions, and some areas also asked, like aryl is asked in some previous questions. So nowadays the NEET paper level is less. Okay, but don't underestimate, it is depend on the time. If you have more time, you can concentrate on additional points like carbuncle, aryl, like that. So if you don't have time, your time management is very tough, then confine to NCERT textbook also. So your preparation strategy, it is depend on the time availability. If you have more time, you can study more points. Otherwise, if you have less time, you can study only NCERT. Suppose if 4 or 5 questions out of NCERT means you may chance to lose 20 marks. But in that condition also, if you can answer all the NCERT related questions, you can easily score 340 marks, no doubt in that. Okay, suppose in some cases like this year NEET examination, so all the questions from NCERT only, 90 out of 90 questions NCERT only. So this kind of question paper is there. So very happy, you can score 360 out of 360. Okay, if you are confined to the NCERT. So your preparation strategy, it should depend on your time management or time availability. If you have less time, then strictly study NCERT. If you have more time, then you can study other extra points along with the NCERT. So this is the clarity I given. So if you like this video and if you understand the concept very clearly, okay, so subscribe my channel and share these videos to your friends, so they also can get benefit. And anytime if you have doubt related to the this topic, you can easily watch this video in YouTube. Okay, so thank you very much for watching my channel. We will meet in the next video, that is types of ovules. Okay, different types of ovules is there based on the that is position of micropylar and hilum, ovary, and funicule. Mostly the ovaries is classified into different types. It is based on the angle between the funicule and the body of the ovule. So based on that, the ovules is classified into different types. So we will discuss about this area in the next video. So if you have any doubts, please comment your doubts in the comment section. So I will give reply. Otherwise, I will explain the doubts in the next video. So thank you very much for watching my channel. We will meet in next video.